Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we are taking a look at a brand new budget button lock from a brand who I have reviewed before, and they've actually had some pretty solid offerings. I've been rather impressed with them, but this is my favorite. This one is without a doubt my favorite because it's a great combination of everything I look for in a knife, and it's not from Civivi, it's not from Sencut, it's not from someone who you would expect to see a black pouch from. This is Remet. Yeah. This one was a shocker to me. I wasn't expecting this one to be as good as it was, especially at this price that it's at. But what we have here is none other than the Remet Rhinoceros. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length coming in at 7.32 inches, a blade length coming in at 3.5 inches, and a blade thickness at your standard 120 thousandths. We have a blade material of one of those steels we all look for, 14C28N. You gotta love it, you always love it. One of, if not my favorite, budget steels. We have a drop point style blade with a flat grind, a handle length coming in at 4.17 inches, and a handle thickness at a really nice kind of feels chunky almost, 510 thousandths. Now, normally 510 thousandths, it doesn't feel thick, but the overall handle shape of this, it really all flows together really well on the handle of this knife. We'll talk more about that when we get to that portion of the review. We have micarta on the handle material, and as you can see, a button lock, which we will talk a lot more about, a user of a right hand only tip up carry. We have a nice recessed clip in there, so that's always good to see. Clip is pretty basic, pretty general, does kind of give you those Civivi-ish vibes in terms of the clip. So yeah, nothing special, but it definitely works, and it really does. It looks pretty good on the knife at the end of the day. A weight at 3.63 ounces and a price. Micarta 14C28N for 55 bucks. So I got no issue with that. That is a super solid price, and as you can see, this is a pretty fun knife to fidget with. But let's take a look at some size comparisons and see how it measures up with some other more well-known knives, because Remet, I think Remet is definitely not in that know them, love them, everybody recognizes them category. So let's put it out there with some knives that you can relate with. Let's go with the CJRB Pyrite, and let's also go here with the Kaiser Original XL, which is another great button lock. This right here is one nice lineup of button lock knives. And as you can see, it is just a little shorter than that original XL and very much in line with the Pyrite, which I think by this point, everybody knows the Pyrite. So it's coming in at a very nice size. Now, when you get into this blade, this was one of the things that was most impressive to me. Very nice edge on this guy, coming in around 17 thousandths, so a nice slicey edge. A nice consistently high flat grind throughout the blade, and you got all the deployment features on here. And what they did with these deployment features, they did a very good job of. Thumb studs are absolutely on point. You have kind of that milled out area that works very well to just middle finger flick. And of course, you got the front flipper. It is reach around approved, and it's pretty easy to front flip. So they pretty much nailed all the deployment features on this knife. You also have a plunge grind here that is pretty good. Not much of a choil to sharpen on, but it does stay pretty nice and thin past the plunge, so they did a pretty good job on that as well. The only complaint I have with the blade is it is a little off-centered. Did come to me a little off-centered. This is, of course, always out-of-the-box experience, so you guys know exactly what you're getting into. So it's not touching. It is just a little off, and I'm pretty sure I can probably tweak it to get it kind of where we want it to be. So yeah, not the end of the world, but we're at a point now again to where, you know, the littlest things will make or break someone's decision. Blade centering on this minimal will never make a decision for me. in all honesty, it won't even really influence my buying decision as long as it's not bad, which this is not. It's pretty minimal, and everything else is done right. And everything else really is done right on this. So, and like I said, you can usually do something to correct that slight off-centering. But one thing that just really strikes me with this knife is the overall balance of design. And I don't talk about that a lot, but that is something that is really important to me. The balance of the blade to handle, and I don't just mean the blade to handle ratio in terms of this much blade and this much handle. I mean the overall just balance of the design, the thickness of the width, the height of the blade, the height of the handle or width, however you want to call it. All the lines go together. The breakaway between the handle and the blade, it flows together really good. It just looks like a very complete design to me. And I really do enjoy the artistic standpoint of knife designs. I'm into photography and I like to sketch up some designs myself. Maybe I have something in the works. You'll find out about that later. But it's just a really well-rounded design to me. I really do enjoy that aspect of this knife. And other than that, again, just a very well done blade. Got a nice swedge at the right spot, good grind lines. It's just a really attractive blade. The handle is also very nice. The fit and finish on this micarta is phenomenal. It's very, very nice. Very smooth. You definitely have that nice tacky, leathery feel on this micarta. So it kind of reminds me of like a polished finish, just without quite the shine or anything. But it feels great in hand. Very, very comfy. Ergos are good to go. No issues there. And I really like the lines on this handle. It allows for a nice kind of like standard grip. And then it has just enough room here to give that kind of that choked up pinch grip that you can get on some knives. And I really like that. There's nothing protecting your finger to go slide into the blade. So, you obviously don't want to go real hard if you're doing anything because your finger could slide up on the blade. But again, that's up to the user. Use your tools with caution and always be mindful and aware of what you're doing. But there is also some nice jimping up here that I would definitely consider functional and effective, which is very nice. And overall, the handle paired with this blade makes for a very, very enticing option for someone, especially if you're not familiar with Remet. If you're not familiar with the Remet, this is absolutely the one to go with. If you want to check them out, if you want to try something new, I would really, really recommend this one. There's two options. There's a black micarta with a black blade, kind of like you're all blacked out. I think there may be a colorful pop somewhere in there. Both options will be linked below, of course. They're both Amazon links. And then you have this option here, which I do prefer this one. I really, really like this finish. I believe that's a bead blast finish. It looks like a really fine bead blast, though. Maybe even like a vapor blast. Not 100% sure. I'm sure it probably specifies that on the listing. I didn't, yeah, I will have to look a little more into that. But it's a very nice finish. Yeah, very, very solid knife. And the action, let's get to talking about that. Thumb studs, like I said, great. Very, very nice to middle finger flick. Front flip is good. Yeah, it is on par. The reach around is a little tougher just because of the design of the front flipper, but you can do it. I would definitely just go with the regular front flipper, but where it really is kind of the sweet spot of deployment for me on this, middle finger flick, whether you're using thumb studs or just the milled area, very, very nice there. And the regular thumb stud is very nice. So a lot of comfortable, fidgety deployment options. And yeah, the action on this is really, really nice. I'm trying to think of like a mainstream brand to compare this to, because I don't think it's quite up there with the Kaisers and Civivis of the world yet. This is really good, but the slight offness, the slight off-centering of the blade, which is, in all honesty, really about it. I don't really have any other complaints with this knife. I would put this in like QSP territory. Like very, very nice, very satisfying. Like if you were to buy this, I don't think you would be disappointed with your purchase. I think it would be a purchase that makes you very happy. It's just not quite up there on that Civivi and Kaiser level yet. Or Vosteed. I think Vosteed's there too. But it is definitely, at $55, a great offering, a fantastic buy, and I do think it's a pretty darn good value. I would take this over just about any QSP out there. And any of the other smaller kind of, not the Civivs, not the Kaisers, those other brands, they're lurking below. I would take this over a Kershaw in a heartbeat. So yeah, very, very good and borderlining great. One that, as I've said before, obviously, I would recommend it. Fantastic design, fantastic value. The Remet Rhinoceros, guys, let me know what you think of this. Really hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.